Ravi lived in a small town that sat between wide-open fields and a long, empty highway. The town was quiet most days. Cars came and went, trucks rumbled down the road, and sometimes a tourist stopped to take pictures of the old diner at the corner. Ravi liked that life. He worked in a little repair shop fixing cars, bikes, and anything with an engine. His father had taught him how to repair machines, and Ravi enjoyed the sound of tools in his hand. One evening, after closing the shop, Ravi walked back home. The sun had just gone down, painting the sky in orange and purple colors. The road was almost empty and the crickets had started their songs. That was when Ravi heard a sound unlike anything he had heard before. It was not a car or a truck. It was a roar mixed with a hum, like metal grinding but also like thunder shaking inside a cave. Ravi stopped. He listened. The sound grew louder, then weaker, then sputtered. Smoke rose in the distance on the side of the highway. Curious, Ravi walked toward it. Most people in his town avoided strange sounds at night, but Ravi had always been different. He wanted to know what caused them. When he reached the highway, his eyes widened. Parked at the edge was a machine that looked like a motorcycle, but it was unlike any motorcycle he had ever seen. It was massive, almost twice the size of the biggest bike he had repaired. The wheels were thick and seemed to be made of a silver metal that glowed faintly in the dark. Blue lines of energy ran along its body, pulsing like veins. A large crystal sat at the center, cracked and smoking. Standing next to the machine was a woman. She was tall, much taller than any person Ravi had met. Her shoulders broad and her stance powerful. She wore a suit of strange armor that reflected the moonlight. Her hair was dark and tied behind her head, and her eyes glowed softly, almost golden. Her expression showed frustration as she kicked the side of the bike, muttering words in a language Ravi did not know. Ravi's heart beat faster. He had read stories about visitors from the stars, but he had never believed he would see one with his own eyes. And now, right in front of him was proof. The woman noticed him. Her eyes narrowed and she took a step forward. Ravi froze, unsure of what to do. She spoke, her voice deep and commanding. The words were strange at first, but then she touched a small device on her collar, and the sound shifted. Now her words were clear. Human, step back. This is warrior property. Do not touch. Ravi raised his hand slowly. I am not here to harm you. I only heard the sound. Your machine is broken. The woman studied him for a long moment. Her eyes scanned him from head to toe, then returned to the smoking motorcycle. She sighed. It is not just broken. It is wounded. This machine is my partner in battle, my transport across worlds. Without it, I am stranded on this small place. Ravi took a cautious step closer. I fix machines. Cars, bikes, trucks. If you let me look, maybe I can help. The woman's brows lifted slightly as if surprised by his offer. For a second she almost laughed, but instead she shook her head. This machine was built by the finest hands of my people. It is not something your kind can understand. Maybe, Ravi said, but a machine is still a machine. Energy moves, parts connect, power flows. If something is cracked or loose, it can be fixed. The woman tilted her head, curious. She had traveled across many worlds, and she knew most humans feared her kind. Yet this one stood calm, even offering help. After a pause, she stepped aside. Very well. Look, if you damage it further, I will stop you. Ravi nodded and moved toward the motorcycle. The closer he got, the more details he saw. The surface shimmered as if alive. The energy conduits glowed dimly, struggling to carry power. The large crystal chamber had a crack along its side, leaking faint sparks. He crouched down, touching the side gently. The material was warm, almost like skin. He took out a small flashlight from his pocket and inspected the joints. Strange design, he murmured, but the structure is like an engine. This chamber must channel energy. The crack makes the flow unstable. The woman watched silently, arms crossed. Ravi pulled a wrench from his bag. He had carried his tools home since he always liked to work on things late at night. Using the wrench, he loosened a panel and found the wires underneath. Some were burned, others twisted. He whistled softly. No wonder it stalled. Can you fix it? The woman asked, her tone softer now. I can try, Ravi answered, but I will need to adapt. Your parts are not like mine. Ravi worked carefully. He used strips of metal from his tool bag to patch the chamber's edges. He wrapped burned wires with heat tape. He poured a little engine coolant from his bottle into the pipes, hoping it would cool the overheated crystal. Every move he made, the woman's eyes followed. Hours passed under the night sky. The moon climbed higher and the wind grew colder. Ravi's hands were black with dust, his shirt damp with sweat, but he did not stop. He loved the challenge. Every time he solved one small problem, another appeared, but he kept going. Finally, Ravi closed the panel and stood up. "Try it now." The woman approached, pressing her palm to the crystal. It pulsed faintly, then stronger. The motorcycle roared to life, its silver body glowing with renewed energy. The crack was still there, but the flow had stabilized. The engine hummed smoother than before. The woman's eyes widened. She looked at Ravi as if seeing him for the first time. "Impossible. Even my warriors could not repair damage like this so quickly." "You are gifted," Ravi smiled tiredly. "It just needed attention. Machines always tell you what is wrong if you listen carefully." The woman stepped closer, her tall frame casting a shadow over him. She placed a hand on his shoulder. "I am Tirana, warrior of the Zarian clans. By our law, you are now bound to me. You fixed my partner, my battle ride. From this day, you are my mechanic forever." Ravi blinked, unsure he had heard correctly. "Wait, forever?" "Yes," Tirana said firmly. "It is the way of my people. A warrior's machine is part of their soul. To save it is to save the warrior." "You are now tied to my path," Ravi laughed nervously. "That sounds serious." "I was only trying to help." Tirana's golden eyes softened. "Help is never small when it is given in truth. You showed courage, human. You did not run. You repaired what others would fear. You will travel with me." Ravi opened his mouth to argue but stopped. Something in her voice was not just command but respect. For a moment the night seemed larger, the road endless and the stars above brighter than before. He realized his life might never be the same again. Ravi stood in silence as the alien warrior Tirana declared that he was now her mechanic forever. The glow of her strange motorcycle lit the road with soft blue light. He felt the weight of her words, but he could not understand how fixing a machine could make him part of her life. Tirana looked serious, her golden eyes fixed on him. She was tall, powerful and proud, yet her voice carried a strange warmth. "In my world," she said, "a warrior is nothing without their ride. Our bikes are more than metal. They are partners. To repair one is to bond with the warrior." Ravi rubbed his hands, still dark with oil. "I only use tools and a bit of luck. I don't know about bonds. I just didn't want to leave you stranded." The warrior shook her head. "You do not see it yet, but I do. You worked for hours with patience. You saw the damage and trusted yourself to fix what even my engineers failed to touch. That means something. On Zaria, your name would be honored." Ravi gave a nervous laugh. "I'm no hero. I'm just a small-town mechanic. You are more," Tirana replied firmly. The engine hummed beside them, glowing brighter now as if agreeing with her. Ravi could feel a faint vibration under his feet. Like the motorcycle itself had a spirit. He had never thought of machines in that way, but something about this one felt alive. The night grew colder. Ravi shivered and looked at Tirana. "You should find a safe place to rest. People in this town might not react kindly if they see you." Tirana crossed her arms. "Let them see. I am not afraid of humans." "I know," Ravi said carefully. "But they might be afraid of you, and fear can make people do foolish things." She studied him, then nodded. "Very well. Show me where," Ravi thought quickly. The small repair shop where he worked had an empty shed out back. It was large enough to hide the motorcycle, and no one visited that late. "Follow me," he said. Tirana climbed onto her motorcycle. The machine roared, the wheels glowing faintly. Yet it stayed quiet enough to travel without drawing too much attention. Ravi walked ahead, guiding her down a side road until they reached the shop. He unlocked the shed, and the alien warrior carefully rolled her machine inside. Under the dim light, the motorcycle looked even more otherworldly. The crystal pulsed slowly, steady but still scarred. Tirana touched the surface gently, almost like one would comfort a wounded friend. Ravi noticed the way her strong hands softened when they touched the bike. "This is more than a ride for you, isn't it?" Ravi asked. Tirana looked at him with surprise. "Yes, we call them soul steeds. They are given to us when we earn our place as warriors. They grow with us, change with us. To lose one is to lose part of yourself." Ravi felt quiet respect. "Then I'm glad I could help." Tirana turned to him and said, "And because you helped, you are mine now. By our code, you belong at my side." Ravi scratched the back of his head. "I don't know if I can just leave everything here. My home, my shop, my life, it's all here." Her eyes softened, though her voice stayed strong. "I will not force you. But know this, your skill is rare. And you may not understand it yet, but fate placed us together. Ravi had no answer. He busied himself by checking the patched wires once more. The repair would hold, but not forever. The crack in the crystal chamber, he explained. It's stable now, but only for a while. You'll need a stronger fix if you plan to travel far. Tirana nodded. Then you must come. Only you can tend to it now, Ravi sighed. His heart pulled in two directions. He wanted to stay in his safe little town, but he also felt something new. Curiosity, adventure, and a strange bond with this warrior. The next morning came too quickly. Ravi woke on a small cot in the corner of the shed. Tirana had not slept at all. She had stood guard through the night, silent and watchful. When Ravi stirred, she was already preparing her gear. You humans sleep lightly, she said. Ravi yawned. We don't usually have giant alien warriors standing in our shop. That makes it harder. A faint smile touched her lips. Perhaps you will get used to it. Ravi shook his head, half amused, half nervous. He checked the motorcycle again. The engine was stable, but the damage was clear. I'll need better tools if I'm going to keep this thing running. Then we find them, Tirana said. Ravi frowned. I don't think the hardware store sells alien motorcycle parts. She leaned closer. You will find a way. You are clever. Before Ravi could respond, the ground trembled slightly. The motorcycle let out a sharp pulse of light. Tirana's expression hardened. She touched a small device on her wrist, scanning the air. Scouts, she whispered. Scouts. Ravi repeated. My enemies, she said. They tracked me here. They will not rest until they destroy my ride. And now you are part of this. Ravi's stomach tightened. He had expected strange things, but not enemy scouts from another world. What do we do? Tirana drew a weapon from her belt. It looked like a long blade glowing faintly at the edge. We fight or we run. But my soul steed cannot take battle in this state. The crack makes it weak, Ravi thought quickly. Then running is smarter. I'll help you hide the bike. Tirana studied him, impressed by his calmness. Together they pushed the motorcycle out of the shed and onto the back road. Ravi guided her toward the hills where caves lay hidden. It was hard work, and the sound of the engine made his heart race with fear of being discovered. By the time they reached the hills, the sun had risen. The caves were dark and cool. Tirana parked her motorcycle inside, the shadows hiding its glow. Ravi wiped sweat from his brow. That should keep it hidden for now. Tirana stood tall at the entrance, watching the sky. You think like a warrior already. You protect what is important before yourself. Ravi laughed lightly. I'm just trying to survive. But I guess that makes sense. She looked at him for a long moment. Perhaps you are meant for more than this small world. Ravi said nothing. Deep inside, he felt the truth of her words. He had always dreamed of something beyond the highway, beyond the small town. Now, with Tirana and her wounded motorcycle, that dream might become real. As the day stretched on, Ravi gathered his courage. He turned to Tirana and said, If I really am your mechanic now, then I'll do it properly. I'll help you fix your bike for good. But you have to promise me one thing. Tirana raised an eyebrow. What promise? That you won't leave me behind once it's fixed, Ravi said. If I help, then I want to see where this road takes us. Tirana's golden eyes glowed brighter. Slowly she nodded. Then it is agreed. You are my mechanic forever, and I will not leave you behind. For the first time, Ravi felt the bond between them was not a chain but a choice. And in that choice, a new path opened, one that would take him far from everything he had ever known. The sound of distant thunder echoed across the sky, but Ravi knew it was not weather. Somewhere out there, Tirana's enemies were closing in. The real journey was only beginning. The cave was quiet except for the steady hum of the alien motorcycle. Its soft blue glow lit the walls, making strange shadows dance across the rocks. Ravi sat near the machine, his back against the cold stone, trying to make sense of everything that had happened. Just a day earlier, he had been fixing small cars in his town. Now he was hiding inside a cave with a towering warrior from another world. Tirana stood at the mouth of the cave, her long blade held ready in her hand. She had not moved for hours, her golden eyes always scanning the horizon. She looked like a statue, strong and unshakable. Ravi wondered if she ever grew tired. At last she spoke without turning her head. You still doubt me? Ravi blinked. Doubt you? You doubt what I said, Tirana replied. That you are bound to me now. That you are my mechanic forever. Ravi hesitated. I don't doubt that you believe it. But it's hard for me to understand. On Earth, fixing someone's motorcycle doesn't mean we belong to them forever. She finally turned. her gaze heavy but not unkind. On my world it does. The bond between warrior and mechanic is sacred. Without our soul steeds we are powerless. Without someone to tend them we fall. You saved mine. That means you are tied to me as surely as blood ties family. Ravi rubbed his hands together, nervous. But I have my own life here. My work, my home, my people. I can't just walk away from it all. Tirana walked closer, the cave echoing with the sound of her boots. She stopped in front of him, towering above him. Your life here is small. You fix machines for men who forget your name the moment they leave. You dream of more, I can see it. You want to see beyond these fields, beyond these roads. Tell me I'm wrong. Ravi opened his mouth to argue but found no words. She was right. Deep inside, he had always wanted more. He wanted to see what lay beyond the horizon. Still, he shook his head. Wanting more doesn't mean I'm ready to leave everything. My father built that shop. My friends are here. Tirana's eyes softened. I will not steal you from your world. But you must understand. My enemies know of you now. You touched my soul steed. That makes you part of me. They will come for you, thinking you are my weakness. If you stay here, you will not be safe. Ravi felt his chest tighten. You mean, just by helping you, I've put myself in danger? Yes, Tirana said simply. You cannot walk away from this. Not anymore. Silence filled the cave. The truth pressed down on Ravi. He had thought fixing her motorcycle was just an act of kindness. But now it was a chain that pulled him into a world of battles and enemies he did not understand. Tirana placed a hand gently on his shoulder. Do not fear. I will protect you. But I also need you. My soul steed will not heal without your hands. You are its voice now. Ravi looked at the glowing machine. The crack in the crystal still pulsed faintly, like a scar that refused to close. He had done his best, but he knew it was only temporary. If Tirana's enemies attacked, the motorcycle might not hold. He sighed. Then what do we do? We prepare, Tirana said. You will learn my ways, and I will teach you how to stand in a fight. You may not be a warrior yet, but you will not remain helpless, Ravi laughed weakly. Me, a fighter. I can barely hold a wrench straight after a long day. Tirana gave him a small smile, the first real smile he had seen from her. Every warrior starts somewhere. You have courage. That is enough. The next few days passed with a strange rhythm. By daylight, Ravi worked on the motorcycle, studying its design and learning its secrets. Tirana showed him how the energy crystals worked, how the conduits carried power, and how the wheels could grip not just earth but also air, allowing the machine to rise and glide above the ground. Ravi's hands grew steady as he learned to blend his own tools with alien parts. At night, Tirana trained him. She taught him how to move quickly, how to keep his balance, and how to dodge instead of freeze. She placed a wooden stick in his hands and showed him the basic forms of defense. Ravi stumbled often, but she was patient. A warrior falls 100 times before standing once, she told him. Ravi discovered something surprising. Even though he was no soldier, he enjoyed the training. His body ached, but each night he felt stronger than the last. Still, the shadow of danger never left them. One morning, while Ravi worked on reinforcing the cracked chamber, the motorcycle's crystal flickered sharply. Tirana's eyes narrowed. They are close, Ravi froze. Your enemies? Yes, Tirana said, her voice low. They hunt me across the stars, and now they know where I hide. Ravi's stomach turned. Then we can't stay here. They'll find us. Tirana nodded. We must leave soon. But before we go, I must ask you one last time. She looked directly into his eyes, her golden gaze steady. Will you come with me? Will you stand at my side not as a prisoner, but as my chosen mechanic? Ravi's heart pounded. He thought of the town, the shop, the life he knew. Safe, simple, and small. Then he thought of the motorcycle humming like a living thing, the vast sky above, and the warrior who had trusted him when no one else would. He realized his choice was no longer about fixing machines. It was about deciding who he wanted to be. I'll come, Ravi said at last. His voice shook, but the words were firm. Not because I have no choice, because I want to. Tirana's expression softened into something rare, relief. Then we are truly bound. By your will, not just mine. The motorcycle pulsed brightly as if hearing his words. Ravi felt a strange warmth spread through him, like the machine itself had accepted him. But their moment of peace was short. From the cave entrance came a sudden echo of voices, strange and sharp. The ground trembled as heavy steps approached. Tirana drew her glowing blade and stood tall. They are here. Ravi swallowed hard, gripping the wrench still in his hand. For the first time, he did not feel like running. He was afraid, yes, but beside Tirana and her motorcycle, he also felt something new. Purpose. Tirana glanced at him, her voice steady but fierce. "Stay behind me. Remember, you are my mechanic forever. I will not let them take you." Ravi nodded. His fear had not left, but it no longer controlled him. The cave shook again as shadows filled the entrance. Strange armored figures stepped into the glow, their eyes burning red. The demand was no longer just about loyalty. It was about survival. And Ravi knew that from this moment forward, his life would never return to what it had been. The cave shook as the armored figures stepped inside. Their glowing red eyes cut through the shadows like sharp blades. Ravi felt his heartbeat in his ears and his grip tightened around the wrench in his hand. Tirana stood tall, her glowing blade raised high, her golden eyes blazing with focus. The invaders spread out, their armor heavy and dark. They carried weapons that looked like long rifles humming with dangerous power. One of them raised his voice, his words harsh but clear. "Tirana of the Zarian clans, you cannot run forever. Surrender the soul steed and we will spare you." Tirana's voice thundered back. "Lies, you want the crystal, not mercy. Come forward and test your strength if you dare." The soldiers laughed, a sound cold and empty. Ravi's hands shook. He had never faced enemies like this before, yet Tirana stood like a wall of stone between him and danger. The first soldier stepped forward and fired. A burst of red energy shot across the cave, striking the rock wall. The cave rumbled, pieces of stone breaking off. Tirana moved quickly, blocking the path with her blade, the glowing edge slicing the blast in two. "Stay back, Ravi," she ordered. But Ravi could not simply hide. His eyes darted to the motorcycle. The crystal pulsed faster, as if warning him. The machine was alive, and it felt the danger too. He realized that if the enemies managed to hit the bike, Tirana would lose everything. "Cover me," Ravi shouted without thinking. Tirana's head turned sharply. "No!" Before she could stop him, Ravi dashed toward the motorcycle. His body trembled, but his mind was clear. He had patched the crystal before, but it was still weak. Now, under attack, it was even more unstable. He grabbed his bag of tools and threw himself beside the glowing chamber. Another blast shook the cave, and dust rained down from the ceiling. Tirana spun, her blade slicing through the air, forcing the soldiers to keep their distance. She fought with such speed that Ravi could hardly follow her movements. Yet she could not stop all of them. Ravi's hands moved quickly. He pressed new clamps around the cracked crystal, tightened the patch, and rerouted some of the wires. The motorcycle's glow brightened. The hum grew louder, steady, and fierce. One of the soldiers noticed Ravi. "The human," he snarled. "Destroy him first." A weapon lifted, aiming straight for Ravi. Tirana roared, leaping across the cave. She struck the soldier down before he could fire, her blade cutting through his weapon. Sparks flew as the enemy collapsed. "No one touches him," she shouted. Ravi's chest burned with both fear and determination. He was no fighter, but his hands had power too, the power to keep the machine alive. He slammed his wrench against the panel, sealing the last crack. The motorcycle's crystal glowed brighter, almost blinding. Suddenly, the wheels lifted off the ground. The bike floated slightly, energy coursing through its frame. Ravi stumbled back, shocked. "It's ready," he cried. Tirana turned her head, eyes wide with both pride and relief. "Then we ride." She grabbed Ravi's arm and pulled him onto the seat behind her. Ravi clung to her armor, his heart racing. The motorcycle roared, and in a burst of light it shot out of the cave. The soldiers fired after them, but the bike's speed was unmatched. The glowing wheels carried them over the rocks into the open sky. The ground fell away beneath them as the motorcycle soared higher, the wind tearing at Ravi's clothes. His fear turned into awe. The horizon stretched wide, the sun rising in golden fire. The town, the fields, the world he had always known grew smaller and smaller as they climbed. Ravi had never imagined flying like this, but now he was riding the most powerful machine he had ever touched, holding on to a warrior who trusted him with her life. Tirana's voice rose above the roar of the wind. "Now you see why I cannot let you go. You are bound to this ride as much as I am. Without you, we would have fallen. With you, we rise." Ravi swallowed hard, the wind stinging his eyes. "I didn't know I could do it. I just knew I had to try." "That is what makes you strong," Tirana said. "You act even when fear surrounds you." They raced across the sky until the mountains swallowed the horizon behind them. At last, Tirana guided the motorcycle down into a forest clearing hidden from sight. The bike lowered gently to the ground, its glow still strong. Ravi slid off, his legs shaky. He had never felt so alive and so exhausted at the same time. He sat on the grass, staring up at the trees. That was unbelievable. Tirana stepped beside him, her armor shining in the morning light. She looked at him with respect. "You are not just a mechanic, Ravi. You are a fighter, too, in your own way." Ravi shook his head. "I didn't fight." "You did all of that?" She knelt down so her eyes met his. "You fought in the way that mattered most. You saved the soul steed while I defended it. Without you, I would have lost everything." Her words sank deep into Ravi's heart. For the first time, he felt that he was more than just a small-town repairman. He had done something no one else could. Still, doubt gnawed at him. "But what about my home? My life back there? I can't just disappear." Tirana's gaze softened. "I will not lie to you. Your life will never be the same. The enemies who chased me will not stop. They will return. If you stay, they will find you. You are safer with me than without me." Ravi lowered his head. "So no matter what, I've already left my old life behind." "Yes," Tirana said gently. "But you are not alone. You have me, and you have the road ahead." Ravi sat quietly, listening to the rustle of the trees. Deep inside, he felt the truth of her words. His old life was already gone. If he stayed, he would only bring danger to his town. If he left, he could at least face the future with purpose. Finally, he lifted his head and met her eyes. "Then I'll go with you. Not because I have to, but because I choose to." For the first time since he had met her, Tirana's stern face broke into a true smile. It was small, but it carried warmth and pride. "Then our bond is sealed. Not by law, but by your own will." The motorcycle pulsed with bright light as if agreeing. Ravi felt the vibration through the ground, steady and alive. It was no longer just Tirana's ride. It was theirs. As the day stretched on, they prepared to leave Earth behind. Ravi packed what little he had brought from the shop. His favorite wrench, a flashlight, and a notebook filled with sketches of machines. Tirana armed herself and checked her supplies. When the sun dipped low again, they mounted the motorcycle together. Ravi sat behind her, his hands firm on her armor. Tirana looked to the horizon, her eyes glowing gold in the fading light. "Once we leave, there is no return," she warned. Ravi nodded. "I know, let's go." The motorcycle roared to life, lifting off the ground. They rose higher and higher, breaking through the clouds. Stars began to appear in the sky, twinkling like distant fires. Ravi stared in awe. His world was now behind him, and ahead stretched the unknown. Tirana's voice was steady and strong. "No matter what comes, remember this: you are my mechanic forever, and I will never let you fall." Ravi held tighter as the motorcycle carried them into the night sky. His decision was made. The road ahead was dangerous, but it was also the greatest adventure he could ever imagine. The morning sun rose slowly over the small town. The streets were quiet, and the workshop stood as it always had, with tools hanging neatly on the walls, and the smell of oil and steel in the air. Tom sat on a wooden chair just outside the garage door. He was tired, but he felt something inside him that he had never felt before. It was not only relief after the fight with Mira's enemies, but also pride. Mira stood nearby, tall and strong, her armor shining faintly even though she had tried to cover it with a plain cloak. She looked up at the sky, her eyes sharp and alert as if she expected more danger to arrive. The battle cycle rested beside her, its strange surface glowing faintly like a living creature that was breathing in the calm morning air. For a long time, Tom said nothing. He only watched the light reflect off the machine's metal skin. He knew it was not a normal motorcycle. It was something alive, something with its own will. Yet it had allowed him to touch it, to repair it, to bring it back to life. That meant something, even if he did not understand the full meaning. Finally, Mira turned toward him. Her voice was calm but firm. "The hunters are gone for now. They will not return soon. But I cannot go back to my homeworld. Not yet." Tom leaned back in his chair. "So you're staying here?" Mira nodded. "Yes. This place may look small, but it is safe enough for me to hide and grow stronger. And I have you. You are my mechanic now. That is not just a title. It is a bond." Tom let out a slow breath. The words felt heavy, but not unpleasant. You mean forever, right? You already told me that. Yes, Mira said, her tone serious. Forever. In my people's ways, once a mechanic and a warrior are joined, they cannot be separated. The cycle itself will not allow it. You repaired it when even I could not. It listens to you. It chose you. Tom looked at the battle cycle again. He still found it hard to believe. He was just a simple man who fixed cars and bikes for a living. Yet here he was, tied to an alien warrior and a living machine that had crossed the stars. He stood up and walked slowly toward the battle cycle. His hand rested gently on the surface of the strange metal. To his surprise, it gave off a faint hum like a cat purring. It was alive, and it was glad he was near. Mira watched him with quiet respect. You see, it knows you. It will carry me into battle, but it will live only if you care for it. That is the way of things. Tom turned back to her. And what happens now? Do I just stay in my shop and wait for the next time you need me to fix it? A faint smile crossed Mira's face. It was the first time he had seen her soften her serious look. Not only that, I will need to learn more about your world. I must train here. Your planet is different. Your people are different. I cannot survive here without help. Tom raised an eyebrow. So you need me for more than fixing your machine? Yes, she replied simply. I need you to guide me. And in return, I will protect this place. You may think you are only a mechanic, but last night, you showed me something greater. You faced danger without fear. You stood beside me. That is worth more than you know. Tom felt his face grow warm. He had never thought of himself as brave. He had only done what he felt was right. But hearing Mira's words filled him with a quiet strength. The day moved on slowly. Tom showed Mira around the town, though he kept her hidden under the cloak so no one would ask too many questions. She was taller than anyone else, and her presence drew curious stares even when she tried to walk quietly. Still, she studied everything with sharp eyes. She asked about the roads, the buildings, the strange earth foods in the small grocery store. Tom answered as best as he could. He explained cars, electricity, and even simple tools like wrenches and screwdrivers. Mira listened carefully, as if every small detail mattered to her. Later, they returned to the workshop. Mira began to train in the open space behind the building, practicing movements with her spear and armor. The sound of her weapon cutting through the air echoed again and again. Tom worked nearby, adjusting parts of the battle cycle, cleaning its strange gears and checking the connections that still made no sense to him. At one point, he looked up and saw Mira standing still, her spear pointed at the ground. She seemed lost in thought. What is it? Tom asked. She looked at him with serious eyes. On my world, warriors live by strength alone. But here, I see something different. Your people live by building, fixing, and creating. You fight in another way. It makes me wonder which way is stronger. Tom wiped his hands on a rag and gave a small shrug. Maybe both are needed. You fight with your spear, I fight with my tools. Together, we kept your enemies away. Mira considered his words and then gave a slow nod. Yes, together. As the sun began to set, Tom sat with Mira outside the workshop again. The sky turned orange and pink, and the quiet of the evening settled around them. You know, Tom said, before all this, my life was simple. I fixed engines, I ate dinner, I went to bed. That was it. Now everything has changed. Part of me still can't believe it. Mira turned her gaze toward him. Do you regret it? He thought about it for a moment. Then he shook his head. No, I don't. It feels like I finally have a purpose. Not just fixing machines for people who don't care, but doing something that matters. If I really am your mechanic forever, then I'll accept it. A rare smile appeared on Mira's face again. Then we are bound, not by force, but by choice. That makes the bond even stronger. The battle cycle hummed beside them, as if agreeing with her words. Night came, and the stars filled the sky. Mira pointed at them. naming constellations Tom had never heard of. She spoke of her world far away, with endless deserts, tall mountains, and cities built from shining crystal. Tom listened, his imagination painting pictures he had never dreamed of before. Then Tom pointed out the familiar constellations of Earth, telling her the simple stories he had learned as a child. Mira listened in silence, respecting his words as much as he respected hers. In that moment, Tom realized something. Humanity was small compared to the vast universe, but it had something powerful: the ability to adapt, to learn, to connect with others even when they came from distant stars. That was what made humans strong. The night grew quiet. Mira finally rose to her feet. The path ahead will not be easy. More hunters may come. My people may seek me. But I will face it. And you will face it with me. Tom stood as well, looking at her tall figure against the starlight. He felt no fear now, only determination. "Yeah," he said, "we'll face it together." And so, under the endless sky, the bond between human mechanic and alien warrior was sealed, not as master and servant, but as partners walking a new path side by side. The road ahead was uncertain, but they were ready. For the first time in his life, Tom did not wonder about the future. He was already part of it.